Hey guys, today I wanted to talk to you all about Light Elegance glitter gel. I am obsessed with this stuff, and I have to say that I think Light Elegance makes the best glitter gels in the world. One of the things that I know I was confused about when I first became a nail tech and I first started using these particular products is I didn't understand it because it was a hard gel. And I was like, wait, hard gel you can't take off. How the heck do you use this on normal people that don't want to have permanent nails? So I also wanted to talk a little bit about application because that's also something I didn't quite understand. A lot of gels these days come in bottles, not in pots, even though the pots are basically the original way that everything used to come. So I wanted to kind of give you the rundown on all of this because I feel like it is a little bit confusing. They're gorgeous colors, but if you don't really know how to use them, then you might be put off like, I don't want to use something that's permanent gel and can't be soaked off with acetone, okay? So I'm going to talk a little bit about all these products and show you exactly how to use them, and also talk about ways that you can make this a semi-permanent application versus a permanent application. So I've got a whole bunch of products here. I wanted to kind of go through all the basic ones. These are the glitter gels here. Really, really pretty. Love all of these different colors. Oh my gosh, this gold is like absolutely gorgeous. One of the things you'll notice about Light Elegance glitter gels is they actually stay suspended. This is Big Dipper. This is actually the one I have on my nails right here. You can see it. Big Dipper is really pretty. One of the things you'll notice about all of these glitters is that they're actually suspended, which means the glitter's not on the bottom floating in clear gel. It's right here on the top. So this particular formula of glitter gel keeps the glitter suspended in there, so you don't really have to ever mix these. You definitely can if you want to, but the glitter stays like this no matter how long it's been sitting in your drawer. It's really, really pretty. So how do we apply these? Well, you can apply them straight out of the jar onto whatever nail you've prepared. And obviously this is just a plastic tip, but if we were doing this on, for example, a nail like this, I've got a clear hard gel base that's protecting my natural nail, and then I embedded the glitter inside. Now, because this is hard gel, it actually adds durability to my nail as I use it, rather than something that's just mainly color, and I'm gonna have to add something else for strength. One of the other things to keep in mind is that these glitters look pretty dang close to how they look on the lid. So this is just one little dollop of the glitter color, and you can see this one's actually really high coverage right here. But this is a good way to see how it's going to cover on the actual nail. And so if you have one that is a little bit more, I guess, sparse or transparent, you can put colors underneath to really create a beautiful payoff. Now I'm going to start with the actual application of how we would do this on someone's natural nail. If this is on someone's natural nail, put a soak off base coat. So you're gonna do your normal preparation. You're going to cleanse the nail, buff the nail, however you normally apply your product for natural nail application. So however you normally do gel polish, do the same preparation on the natural nail. Okay, and I think we all know what that is. If you don't, I do have a video about nail prep that you can watch, and I'll create a link for that as well. You can put soak off gel on the natural nail, put like a nice medium coat, so not paper thin, and that's gonna allow you to have a soak off gel that's attached to the natural nail. So if we have soak off gel and then all of these layers of stuff on top of it, when we go to remove it, all we have to do is file through that other gel, expose the soak off gel, apply acetone as normal, and we can soak everything off. It's fantastic. So you don't have to worry about using hard gels on natural nails. You can actually determine whether or not it's removable by what kind of base coat you put all the way down on the bottom. All right, so also I'm gonna show you guys real quick what this looks like when we don't put a base color down. And before we actually apply the gel, I wanted to quickly talk about brushes. So Light Elegance makes their own brushes, really cute because they're little blingy ones. The two most common ones that I like to use are the number 4 oval and the gel polish brush. So you'll see they're pretty dang similar. One is slightly, I would say, wider and longer. So you'll see that this is, if I line these up, okay? So this is the number 4 oval, the first one, and this is the gel polish. So you'll see the gel polish is a little bit bigger. The number 4 oval is just a little bit smaller. So I actually like the gel polish brush more for the glitter gels. I like that it has a bigger surface area to work with. They are synthetic bristles, so very easy to clean and keep in good shape. And the other thing I wanted to mention is that I never mix my brushes. I never use this one for color and then for glitter. I always alternate. So whatever brush you want to designate for your glitter gels, I really recommend that you only use one brush for all your glitters and one brush for all your solid colors. That way, when you go to switch between glitter and solid color, you're not going to have glitter in your solid colors, okay? That also goes for if you want to get even more brushes. Get one for light colors, one for dark colors, and I also have a separate brush that I like to use for clear gels. So Light Elegance also makes a number 4 flat, which is exactly the same as the oval. It just has a flat tip. So rather than having an oval tip on, it has a nice square tip. Square can be kind of nice because when you push out the bristles, okay, you can actually get kind of an oval shape to it, and you also are able to make kind of square lines. So some people prefer square, some people prefer oval. It's just personal preference, but I do like that. So again, don't mix your glitters and your colors. It's going to be a huge disaster, and you're never going to get glitter out of your brush no matter how many times you clean it. All right, so let's just do some glitter on a nail. Okay, so let's pretend this is prepped. I've got base coat, and I'm going to do my application of the gel. All right, so most people, when they first start using a jar of gel, they get kind of freaked out, and they're like, wait, do I paint it like nail polish? And they start painting, and then they get this really weird application where it's like paper thin, and it's got thickness in weird places, and they're like, I don't understand, it's a disaster, it's all over the place, how do I control this? Okay, so what I want you to do is your first coat, I want you to put a slip layer, okay? I sometimes refer to this as a wetting layer, slip layer, however you wanna, talk about it, but slip layer is basically a wet layer of gel. So nice and thin, that's all I need. I don't need to worry about, how thick it is or whatever. I just want to get the nail wet with the same gel that I'm going to be putting on. So nice wet layer. And then I want you to get in the habit of actually picking up a nice bead of gel. This allows you to actually do quite a bit with the nail. And instead of painting it like nail polish with these passes, I want you to actually think about you're icing a cake. So imagine your brush is a spatula, and rather than painting the cake, which would totally eat up the cake and you'd have cake bits getting into your frosting everywhere, think about your brush as a spatula rather than a brush. And you're going to, if I kind of turn this aside so you guys can see, you're just going to touch down on the nail like this, okay? So you can see how I'm kind of touching it here. And I can just kind of swoosh the product onto the nail. So you can see how much more coverage I get in this one little spot right here if I actually swoosh a little bit rather than painting. And the nice thing about these glitters is it's actually, it's clear with glitter in it, so you're not gonna have to worry about the curing as much. So you can actually kind of swoosh these on here, get like nice coverage, okay? And I just kind of work it down in like semicircular motions. You don't have to do it all in one coat. I would recommend actually doing it in 2 just to make sure it does cure all the way through. But my point is you don't have to do paper thin coats like you're painting nail polish. You can actually kind of smush it around. And you can also smush it around before it cures to make sure it's got nice kind of shape to it. It's not too thick on the tip of the nail. You can kind of bring it back. And all you have to do is make contact with the gel and it will follow you. So I kind of use like a sketching motion to wiggle back and forth, bring the gel around. You can even bring it back from the corners a little bit, make those nice and thin so you don't get too much thickness where you don't want it, okay? So I'm gonna cure this while we're talking about our next one. I'm gonna put this in the Light Elegance lamp for 30 seconds, and then we'll cure this one layer and we can even go back and add more. All right, so while we're doing that, I'll put this in here. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to show you what it looks like if we put a base color underneath it. So here's a fresh new tip. I'm going to just scrape off the excess glitter that I have here into the jar. And anytime I'm not using jars, I like to just cover them. Keeps them from being exposed to light, keeps them from being exposed to dust. And my brushes, I'm gonna use this in a second so I can just put this down. and I'm gonna use my color brush. So let's put a base color underneath this just to make it pop even more. This is the new Buttercream from Light Elegance. These gels are really cool. So basically they have the ability to do everything from fine details all the way to full coverage. The difference is that depending on whether or not you stir it up, if you really, really stir it with a spatula, you get a more liquidy consistency. If you just let it be kind of like this, like marshmallow cream, you're gonna get a thicker consistency. This is really highly pigmented. So again, the more pigmented the gel, like whites tend to be like that, especially with a certain type of white pigment that's usually used for whites. Nice slip layer, you know, medium consistency. And again, I'm kind of floating over the nail. I'm not really painting it like polish. You'll notice if I put pressure, it makes streaks. So rather than making streaks, okay, I can actually just kind of float over the surface. If your brush is being a little bit difficult, what I like to do sometimes is to get it kind of warmed up, I like to say, I'll kind of like work some product into it, get it to like loosen up a little bit, and just kind of paint in one direction, but get those bristles to be a little bit more flexible. That way when you pick up your color, it's not going to be so stiff. So now I can feel the difference with when I'm applying it. So again, I can kind of do a nice wet layer. I can perfect my application if this was like the cuticle area. Make sure it's nice and even as far as the coverage. Okay, so I've got one nice white layer here. And then we can come back and we can put glitter over it. And again, you can wipe off your excess in your jar so you don't waste all of it. And again, just loosely put your jar on the lid on the jar on top. That way it's not going to get exposed to anything while you're working, okay? Same with brushes. If you're working in an area where you're next to a window or you're using halogen bulbs or something like that, gels are pretty sensitive. So all I really do sometimes is I'll like have like a little, you know, piece of cardboard or a little wipe or something or a little piece of paper, and I'll just create like a little hood over my brushes so that they're not exposed to all the light while I'm tinkering around. So I'm going to cure this white and then we can put some glitter over it. I've got my glitter on my black background and also my white one. So as a comparison, I just wanted to show you guys how much more of an impact the glitters can have if you change the color of the background. And it also just has a big impact on what it looks like when you're done. So I'm going to just take my same brush. And again, any layer that you're putting on, it's much easier to work with if you actually use a slip layer or a wet layer. So again, I can paint like a nice thin layer first. And if you like kind of that sparse glitter look, you can definitely paint it thin. It's total personal preference. You can even like mush the glitter around, especially like glitters that have lots of chunks. You can kind of mash them around, get them kind of spaced out the way that you like it. Again, it doesn't add a lot of thickness to the nail, but we want to make sure that it looks nice. If we want more full coverage, while it's still wet on the nail, I can actually apply more, and I'm just going to touch down, make contact with that gel, and then again, use kind of like an icing motion. Work back and forth, and just shimmy it down. Once you run out of gel, go back and grab more. And because this is hard gel, you can also file it if you need to, which is awesome. Whereas soak off gel, you wouldn't really be able to get away with doing that without kind of ruining it. So I like this because it does add strength to the natural nail. This is great on feet for that reason. Adds a lot of strength to what you're working with. And again, not a lot of thickness here. So it doesn't add a ton of thickness to the nail, but it definitely adds a lot of sparkle. So again, I can kind of shimmy this up. Just kind of move everything around. Make sure it looks nice. You can put blue under this. A lot of times if you're looking for it to look really high coverage with one thin coat, if you pick the same background color, it'll actually look much more high coverage. And up here at the cuticle area, I can even push this back so I get better coverage up there. And just kind of toy with it a little bit. The best way you can get comfortable with using gels is just to practice. I find that a lot of people, they get nervous because gel moves and it doesn't dry on its own without being in a lamp. But that's also what I love about it, because you have time to play around, you have time to practice, and if things, you know, start to move a little bit, you can move stuff around, touch it, and all you have to do is make contact with it. It'll follow you everywhere. So very, very cool. Also, if you're a beginner and you're just learning how to do this, you can also turn the nail upside down, and what that'll do is it actually weights all the gel back to the center. So I can just kind of turn this to the side so you guys can see. So right here, I can actually kind of shimmy things back. If it's too heavily weighted at the tip of the nail, I can just shimmy things back and forth until I'm happy with the actual application, okay? So I'm gonna cure this, and then I'll show you what it looks like in comparison. So if we compare these two tips really quick, right next to each other, they're still sticky, haven't top coated, haven't finish filed. So again, they're a little lumpy right now. But I wanted to show you kind of what the color comparison looks like. So you can see what a difference that one color on a dark surface versus on a light surface, you get a little bit of a different effect. And I actually, believe it or not, would probably put this over a blue gel, some type of blue color. There's a ton of colors that Light Elegance offers, not even including the buttercreams, but maybe even something over like this, or this even is dark, or even like a lilac-y color like this would be really pretty. So you can experiment with the background to get different looks. But again, the most high coverage will be choosing a color that matches the actual color of the glitter. So this is just a quick way to do it. And if we had soak off base on the actual natural nail, all I do is I take a nail file through until I can start to see base. So I would file through the white, expose all of that, and then I could actually put wraps on this. The soak off base will actually be eaten by the acetone. It'll start to loosen from the nail plate, and then all of the gel will start to pop off, even though the two top layers are actual hard gel. So this is a great way to make it so it's semi-permanent. Or you can do it, as part of your hard gel nail services. So whether you're doing hard gel overlays on the natural nail and then, these types of glitters, you can really experiment with how you want to put them into your work. So I really like that. And all the glitters are really different. So this Big Dipper color is a lot more pigmented. It's actually like a really, really dark navy type of glitter with all this holographic stuff in it. Or you can use something like the Joan Crawford, which is more like gold flakes. So I'm just gonna clean my brush really quick. When I wipe off my brush, normally while I'm working, I just use the corner of my little sheet down here, put it over the top, squeegee off the gel, and I always wipe it in one direction. That way I clean my brush, but I don't ruin the bristles. So I can just show you really quick how this looks on a different tip. So the Joan Crawford is really pretty. But again, it depends on how you apply it. So you can apply it really thin, like so, or you can make it really thick and just add more and really get like a nice solid gold kind of look. Has these little metallic flakes in it, which is really cool. So you can definitely experiment with how you want it to look. Maybe you want it thicker around the cuticle area because you want it to be more solid. And then you want it to add a little bit, of like a glitter ombre as you come down the nail. Or you can swirl it around and play around with it. And the texture of these is really nice. Like it's not super sticky. It's not super silky either, so it allows you to play around with it quite a bit. But I really like working with these glitters. And like I said, I'm a big fan of companies that specialize in certain things. So you guys have seen me use lots of different brands of gel. I have my favorites for all different types of things. But I would say that for glitter gel, Light Elegance is definitely my favorite. They just make beautiful, beautiful colors. And that formula that allows their glitters to stay suspended means that every time I open this jar, I'm gonna get the same type of look and the same application. So really awesome stuff. And all of this is now LED curable, so you can cure it in a UV or LED lamp, and both are going to be awesome. So there you have it. Very, very pretty. I'll cure this. And really encourage you guys to check out these glitter gels. Awesome, awesome stuff. They do come in a soak-off formula, just for those of you that might be asking. So Light Elegance does make a P+, which is a bottled soak-off version of some of their glitters. But I have to say, if you were to have me pick which ones were my favorite, the pots are absolutely the way to go. These are the ones that Light Elegance started with. They specialize in these. They're famous for them. And even though it comes in a pot and you have to use a separate brush, you're gonna get so much better application. You're gonna get better durability, wearability, and I just think that the impact of seeing the gel in the jar really makes a difference, not only for you, but also for your clients, just to see, wow, look at all that sparkle that I'm gonna get on my nails during my service. So really cool stuff, some of my favorite things, and these new buttercreams are really cool. I'm gonna be doing a separate video specifically on these, but these are the newest product that Light Elegance has started to develop. I need to play around with these more. These are really cool. I think they have a lot of potential. These are the original hard gels in the smaller size. So they do have hard gel colors as well that are really gorgeous. But for me, it's all about that glitter, baby. So hopefully this was helpful, and I will be in touch soon with another video specifically about buttercreams and all the other amazing stuff that I like to use on my nails. All right, bye guys.